Greetings, my peeps, and welcome to the All Things Basketball Podcast with your boy GD. In this episode, I will give you my kind of sort of NBA season preview for the Eastern Conference. Plus, I'll be giving you all my playoff teams and play-in teams as well. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hey guys, I am back. Yes, so took kind of a hiatus there, the business of life and all those things, but your boy GD is back up in the building, so we're going to get into this. We're starting with the NBA season preview. I'll call it the kind of sort of NBA season preview. Why? Because we already got a few games in the books already. So we're gonna get this thing underway. So it's been a while, so let's get straight into it, shall we? So we're gonna start off with the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference, where you got 15 teams there, of course. Your three divisions, so we'll go through each of the teams and we'll chop it up a bit about them. So let's start with the Atlantic Division. The Atlantic Division, you got in there Philly, Toronto, Boston, New York, and Brooklyn. So my predictions as far as that goes, so far you have Boston that's undefeated, although I think they took a L tonight because I was watching the Knicks game. Knicks beat the Magic and Boston was getting blown out by Chicago, so I think they now have a defeat on the ledger. So in any event, I'm going to pick Boston to end up winning this series. Winning this division. Why? We all know the controversy that took place with Ime Udoka and his suspension, so I'm not going to get into the sordid little details of it. He was suspended for the whole year. So in comes Joe Mazzulla. He's an assistant coach who was under Udoka, so you have some continuity there. So I actually thought about this kind of hard, and you know what? There's something to be said for continuity. So you got a guy who knows the system, the assistant coach here, so he just moves up to the hot seat. But hey, he has talent here, so you still have Jason Tatum, who is an absolute stud. You got Jaylen Brown, who's money in the bank. You brought in a Malcolm Brogdon in that trade. And the thing with Brogdon is health. If he's healthy all season long, then you're alright. So you still have Marcus Smart, who's playing with a chip on his shoulder now that you brought in a Brogdon. You still have Derek White coming off your bench. So you're solid in the backcourt. Now the big problem is at center. Robert Williams III, he is down for the count. He won't be back until the new year, more likely than not. So who fills in for him in the interim? It'll be a combination of Al Horford. It'll be Grant Williams, Luke Cornett, Noah Vonleh, those sort of guys. So will they be able to hold the fort until he gets back? Probably so. Again, when you have Jason and you got Jaylen, that helps a great deal. So I'm going to say Boston ends up winning this division. The second team, Toronto Raptors. I put my trust in Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse, the coach, I put my trust in him. He knows how to push all the right buttons. He has the key for them really is keeping both Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet healthy. If you can do that, then that's gonna go far for you. So also you have Scotty Barnes, a kid that's on the rise. So you have OG Anunoby. You have him as well. So you got some guys there. So Gary Trent Jr. So again, I put my trust in Nick Nurse. Also got Precious Achiuwa there. Chris Boucher, who he's injured right now, but he'll be back shortly. So yeah, Nick Nurse knows how to push the right buttons, and I'm picking this team to be second in the division. Third, y'all may be surprised by this. I'm picking the New York Knicks, man. I'm picking them to finish third in that Atlantic division. Why? I think the Jalen Brunson signing was a major signing for them. You finally get the point guard who knows how to run the offense. He's a guy who can get it done. We've seen what he did in Dallas under the mentorship of the Jason Kidd. So he comes over here, very familiar surroundings. His dad is the assistant coach. He knows Tibbs like the back of his hand. Leon Rose, he knows as well. And it's just those connections there, I think. All that comfortability that he has will help him excel at his job here. So then you got R.J. Barrett, who started out the gate slow, actually. I think he's trying too much. I think he's trying to justify the money that they're paying him, because you got these nut jobs on these fan pages, in social media like Facebook and Twitterverse. You got the Twitterverse there, and all these know-it-alls. First of all, down in the fact that he signed for all that money. When you look at guys in the same class who got more money, like a Tyler Hero, like a Jordan Poole. So I say it's the going rate for a guy like him. So he was the third pick in the draft. So I mean, he could have end up getting a rookie supermax. He didn't get that. So it's a nice sizable contract, to believe it or not. So I think the kid will be okay. Again, I think he's pressing. Julius Randle, I think these first 3 games, he has been a model citizen, and he's bought into the system that they got going here. He's not pounding the ball like he's done in previous years. He has a point guard now, so he's seen the handwriting on the wall. I saw the game tonight, a lot of ball movement, no real pounding of the ball. So, excuse me. So, I think Randall's approach to this season holds the key, and so far, so good. Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson is a guy, I think you have to keep him engaged. In other words, you have to, throw a few lobs his way, get him kind of involved in the offense so he's not just standing around. He'll defend the paint on the other end. But at least, get him some lobs here and there. He's going to get putbacks. So I think that's a big key as well. Of course, the shooting guard position that's a position we need to watch. You got Evan Fournier there. He's the seasoned vet who a lot of the Knicks fans are sour on. Listen, without a point guard, this guy broke the 3-point record for the team. So imagine what he does with a guy like Fournier. So Quentin Grimes, he's had that foot injury that's been plaguing him. They're taking it really slow with him, which I like. You don't want to, get him out there too soon and then he aggravates it further. So I'm of the opinion, take it slow with him. Then you got that second unit that's really has shown itself in the game that they lost. Why? Because the second unit didn't play so great. But that second unit of D Rose, you got Quickly, you got Obi Toppin, you got your center you signed Isaiah Hartenstein, who fits perfectly with that unit, and then you have a Cam Reddish as well. It looks like he's part of that second unit for now until you get Grimes back. But he's making the most of his opportunities, which is a good thing. You like to see that. So, yeah. So I think as the Knicks go, I think the second unit is going to play a major role in that. So, but again, I'm picking them third, man. I don't care what anybody else say. I'm picking them third in this division. So, which means you have two powerhouses that's going to finish fourth and fifth. So far, the Brooklyn Nets, I believe they lost tonight to the Memphis Grizzlies. Last I checked, and then Philly, I think they're going to end up getting their first win tonight, but they're 1-3. So, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm picking Philly to finish fourth. You got a full season with Harden now, so that's motivation there. You got the maturation of a Tyrese Maxey. That's definitely going to help them. You got a bulldog in the lineup like a PJ Tucker. And the key is keeping Joel Embiid upright all season long, which you did last year. So that's going to be a key for them. You need guys like Tobias Harris not to shrink or disappear. You need him engaged as well. So, well, I'm picking them fourth. It's a lot of adversity there. They're still trying to find themselves. So, Doc Rivers is on a hot seat, man. He really is. So, I'm going to pick them fourth. And then that means the Brooklyn Nets, I'm picking to finish at the bottom of the division. Couple of reasons. They're a team of turmoil. They're one of those teams where everything is going great, that everybody's okay. As soon as adversity hits, they become a shrinking violet. So the key is how many games Kyrie is going to play. So far, he's been a model citizen. He's been saying all the right things, so on and so forth. So, but again, it's a long season. Is he going to... Listen, the last time he's given you over 65 games, it's been a while. So, yeah, so that's going to bear some watching. I know he's doing all the right things to start with, but once the grind of the season goes on, don't be surprised if Kyrie take a hiatus here or there. So, and then you have Ben Simmons, who so far he's played in these games. He's doing Ben Simmons things, filling up the stat sheet and so forth. Not really scoring a lot, but it seems like he's brought those same scoring problems with him from Philly. So that's going to bear some watching as well. KD is KD, but he's on the wrong side of 34. Plus, he has a, knee injuries on his resume. So, and then remember, he missed 27 games last year. So, do I expect him to miss that many this season? Don't really know. Don't really know how his health is going to hold up. So, he's not exactly the strongest guy out there. He's still a lanky guy. Susceptible to injuries this late in his career. So I'm not sold on him playing a full season. I'm not. So you add all that up, and you're going to have a team that's going to struggle. I like what I've seen out of Royce O'Neal so far. He's a guy who's been doing the dirty work. He's been in there, getting your steals, your blocks, and just D'ing up. So he's been good. Nick Claxton, I expect him to improve on what he did last season. So, but with all of that said, I think this team is just a team of turmoil. So I'm picking them last. I don't care what anybody say so. So that's that. Let's move to the Central Division. Central Division, you have, of course, the class of the division, the Milwaukee Bucks, who I will pick first. So far, they're 2-0. This season, they have a Brook Lopez back healthy, so that's going to go a long way. You still have some depth as far as your big men go. You still have Bobby Portis Jr., who filled in admirably for Lopez last season, and you still have a Serge Ibaka, so you're deep in that regard. The key for this team, the health of Chris Middleton, who right now he's out. He's going to miss at least the first couple of weeks, so we'll see what happens there. Your shooting guard rotation, I think that bears some watching as well. They're going to start Grayson Allen. So you have him. Pat Connaughton, you have him as well. And Wes Matthews. So those are names that don't exactly excite you, but that's what they have. So, of course, you have Giannis Antetokounmpo. You have him there. He's your catalyst. He's your leader. And then Drew Holiday as well, man in the points. So the bench, you need more from your bench, especially if you're going to go far in the playoffs. And they have a relatively young bench. But again, when you have Giannis, you have a puncher's chance. So I'm going to pick them first in that division. Coming second in that division, I think it'll be the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that's pretty much a fait accompli. You've got, of course, Darius Garland running the show there. You have you acquired Donovan Mitchell, which was a very good acquisition. Make no mistake about it. Anytime you acquire an all-star, that's a good thing. Sure, he's just 6'1", but he plays taller than 6'1", that's for sure. So that's a vast improvement there. You still have the kid Evan Mobley, who's taking steps towards being that guy you want to see. Of course, you still have Jared Allen working the in the paint there. Of course, Karis LeVert, who's taking more of a six-man sort of role, so keep an eye on him. But the key thing is, can Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell coexist? I say yes. Right now, Darius Garland, he suffered the injury in the opener, so he's been out a couple of games now, so he'll probably be out maybe another week or so. So we'll see what happens there. But that is a concern. Whether those two can mesh, I think they can. I think, they're professional enough to know in crunch time you're going to need those points from Donovan Mitchell. So, and then you got J.B. Bickerstaff, who's done a great job with this team, bringing them up to becoming contenders. Last year, they were the surprise of the league, one of the surprises of the league. It just ran out of gas down the stretch because of injuries and other things. But I think this season, you see them take that next step. So, so I'll pick Cleveland second in that division. Third, Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls, another team that was a surprise team but faded down the stretch. At one time, they were like first in the East. So, but then you had injuries to Lonzo Ball, to Patrick Williams. Then you had Zach LaVine, of course, missing some time. So all those things don't help. But nonetheless, you won't have Lonzo Ball to start the season right now. So it's Ayo Dusamo. He's going to run the point. It'll be probably between him and Alex Caruso handling the point guard duties until Ball comes back. Not sure when he's coming back. There's no real word as to that. So could be this season. You would hope so. Of course, you still have DeMar DeRozan, who was an all-star last year. Zach LaVine, of course, who you re-signed. You gave him that big money in the off-season. Of course, you still have Nikola Vucevic. You still have him, man in the middle. You have a healthy Patrick Williams now. So, you have some pieces there, of course, but I don't think it's enough to overcome both Cleveland and Milwaukee. So I'm picking them third in that division. And then fourth, the Detroit Pistons. I think the Detroit Pistons, under Dwayne Casey, I think they'll kind of take a baby step forward. It'll be Cade Cunningham's sophomore season, so we'll see what happens there. Can Jaden Ivey, can he be a major contributor? So far, so good. The kid looks good. I'm going to say that. The kid looks very good. So, of course, it's a matter of those two playing off each other. So, and then can Sadiq Bey be consistent? So far, he's looked good so far. So, that's a good thing for them. And also big news, Marvin Bagley III, he got hurt, so he's going to miss some time with an MCL strain. So you have that. Isaiah Stewart, what he's going to give you in the middle. You see what happens there. They were able to acquire Bogdan Bogdanovic from Utah, so that gives them much needed outside shooting. So they'll scrap, that's for sure. They'll scratch and claw, but I think it won't be enough to overcome those top three, so I'm picking them fourth. And then last place team will be the Indiana Pacers. I understand, I get it. You got a Tyrese Halliburton there. It'll be his first full season with the Pacers there, so you'll see what happens with him. Benedict Mathurin, I tell you, this kid's got Rookie of the Year written all over him. I'll give you my kind of picks of end of season awards. I'll do it when I assess the Western Conference, which I'll do on another separate episode. So you have that. Now the question is, will Buddy Hield or Miles Turner get traded? I say yes. So that bears watching. You still have a Chris Duarte who looked okay last year as a rookie. See what happens there, but the whole thing, Hield is kind of blocking his way there. So, and then once you deal Miles Turner, you got these young, promising big men. You got Jalen Smith, you got him there, and then you have Isaiah Jackson. Both of those guys, they need opportunity. Well, Jalen Smith is starting, so he's starting at power forward position, and he's looking good, but he can always slide to center. Isaiah Jackson is more center than power forward, so you have that dynamic. But nonetheless, they will finish at the bottom of the Central Division. Now let's go to the South. The South Division. I think coming in first will be the Miami Heat. Anytime you have Eric Spoelstra at the controls as the coach, I see them doing just fine. They're already talking about load managing guys as far as not having them play back-to-backs like a Jimmy Butler. He won't play a back-to-back. He missed 25 games last year, so they're going to manage his time. Also, can Bam expand his game? It was big talk about him, being more involved in the offense. I haven't seen it just yet in these little bit of games that we've had here, so we'll see. Is Tyler Hero ready to start? Looks like yes. He's the starter now. Again, you gave him the big money, so so far so good as far as he goes. And you always have those guards that's waiting in the wings. Guys like Gabe Vincent, Matt Strus. Of course, you have Kyle Lowry, who the seasoned vet running the show on, as far as the point guard. But he's going to be load managed, so all that bears watching. But of the teams that do this sort of load managed thing, I think Miami can survive those nights where they sit those guys because the bench is so deep. So they're one of the few teams that can do that and get away with it. So so we'll see what happens. Again, they got a plethora of young guys on that bench. You still have a Caleb Martin. Actually, I believe he starts. But Nikolai Jovic, he's a rookie. I think I think it's going to bear watching with him. I think he has promise. So, and there's no need to rush him into the system there, bring him along slowly. But I think he can be a key contributor down the road. So, but nonetheless, they will finish first. Finishing second, Atlanta. And I think it will be close in this division. I do think it'll be nip and tuck between Atlanta and the Heat, but I think the Heat will kind of pull away from Atlanta. Atlanta improved. I can't take that from them. They improved by getting DeJounte Murray in the offseason. Now you have a backcourt of Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. There's already word Nate McMillan want to stagger them, where one guy's on the floor, the other guy gets a rest, vice versa. So that's the smart thing to do, be honest. So, well, of course, they'll be playing together, but they want to stagger their minutes that way. So we'll see what happens there. As far now, Clint Capella, it seems like they're doing a timeshare between him and I gotta get this name right, Anika Okongwu, the young promising center over there. They're splitting their time. They're splitting both of their times. So I think in due time they will try and move Capella and give this kid the full reign at the center position. So keep an eye on that, guys. And then, of course, the key for them is keeping John Collins healthy. He's another guy who's missed quite a few games last season. So keeping him healthy, keeping him upright, that is key as well. DeAndre Hunter is playing well. So you have that. They have to get Bogdan Bogdanovic, their swing man, back. He's banged up right now, but once they get him back and in the flow, you have another dynamic there. So, but nonetheless, I think it'll be a close division here, but I think Atlanta will end up in the second place. Then you go third place, the Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets, I think, will finish third. You have Steve Clifford coming back for another bite at the apple as far as coaching goes. Lonzo Ball right now, he's starting the season with a knee sprain, so he's going to miss a couple of weeks there. So look for Terry Rozier. But Terry Rozier, he just recently got hurt. So they're down to their third point guard, Dennis Smith Jr., who's actually playing well for them. So they're pretty deep at point guard. So, of course, you have the whole Miles Bridges situation, the domestic violence, the charges that were brought against him. So I think you don't see him this year at all, with all that's going on with him. I don't even think they will consider bringing him back. The guy can play ball, but it's just a black eye. No pun intended. As far as what he ended up doing, Lord have mercy. So anyhow, so right now this benefits a guy like Kelly Oubre Jr. He's making the most of that time, so we'll see what happens there. Gordon Hayward's a guy. There's always an issue of health with him, so you're gonna have to load manage him, and watch his minutes and those sort of things. When he's out there, he's golden. He's good, but that's just the whole thing of it. So, and then what are you gonna get at the center position? You got Plumlee, you got Mark Williams, you got some other bigs here. So what exactly do you get there? That remains to be seen. I think that Achilles heel is what's gonna have them end up in third place in this division. Then you got fourth place. I think it'll be Washington Wizards. I think it'll be the Wizards. Of course, the key for them, having Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis healthy. Both guys, only 40 games for Bradley Beal, and then only 51 games between Porzingis' time in Washington and in Dallas. Remember, he got traded at deadline, so he only played 51 games for the year. So keeping those guys healthy, that's always the issue with both guys, to be honest with you. So the keys have been given to Monte Morris as far as running the offense now. So we'll see what happens there with him. He did that in Denver to some extent, but it helps having a guy like the Joker next to you who usually leads the team in assists anyway. But you're in a different situation now where you're going to have to be that assist guy. So we'll see what happens there. And then what will they get from their small forward position? Remember, they got Adesha, the Australian kid. They got him. And then you brought over Willie Barton in that trade as well, along with Monte Morris. So what you get there, we'll see what happens. So, but again, I think they finished fourth. And then in fifth place will be Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic has some young talent there. Got a lot of youth there. You got Jalen Suggs, who's starting off the season injured, wherever we heard that before. He did it in his rookie season. So we'll see what happens with him. Paolo Banchero, who I think is pretty much the rookie of the year. I think it's his to lose. Although, like I said, Benedict Mathurin, I think he's going to be nipping at his heels. So, but Banchero, who's looking great so far. He is looking like the right move was made by Orlando by picking him first overall. Cole Anthony, of course, the point guard there. Franz Wagner, who's been playing pretty well so far. In fact, he's shown playmaking skills as well here, which makes him very valuable. You got a Mo Bamba, Bo, who tonight torched the Knicks from the bench. So a lot of young pieces there. Of course, for them, Markelle Fultz and Jonathan Isaac, both of them, these guys, injured already, so we'll see what happens there. And then you have, of course, you still have a Wendell Carter, another young guy pretty much, Terrence Ross, Gary Harris. So the young coach there, Jamal Mosley, he has his hands full with this young talent. But nonetheless, I think they finish 5th in that division. So with that said, let's pick playoffs. Early picks for playoffs. I see the top 6 teams being Boston Celtics, Toronto Raptors, Miami Heat, Atlanta Hawks, Milwaukee Bucks, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Your play-in teams, I think Knicks will be one of those play-in teams. Chicago will be. I think Philadelphia will be. And Charlotte. So I'm not even picking Brooklyn to make the playoffs, man. I know people are going crazy, but I just don't. It's just too much going on there, man. I understand. I get it. Philly got their own set of problems, but they ain't Brooklyn problems. So, yeah. So that's the way I see that. And coming out of the East, I would feel better picking Boston if I knew the status of Robert Williams' health. The fact that that's kind of in flux here, I'm going with Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee comes out of the East. So that's going to do it for my preview of the East. When I come back to you, I will be covering the West. Give you those playoff teams as well once everything is done. And I'll give you my end of the season award winners. So a lot to cover, guys. All right. So once again, GD is back up in here. So glad you guys are sticking with this. And we will talk soon. All right. Take care. So my peeps, if you like what you're listening to, you can go to my website, www.allthingsbasketballwithgd.com. You can also email me at thatsportsdudegd@gmail.com. To support this podcast, you can go to my PayPal, and that email is thatsportsdudegd@gmail.com. Also on my Anchor page, I have a support button there that you can also use to help the podcast. I'm on all the major platforms like Anchor, Spreaker, Google Podcasts, Amazon, SoundCloud, YouTube, Castbox, Radio Public, Podchaser, just to name a few. And also you can find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Clubhouse, and Fanbase. So once again, I thank you for listening and supporting this podcast. And take care and be safe.